Assalamualaikum. I'm Shakila Dahalan. Today I will present the research about how perceives teacher integrating historical thinking skill in class. Introduction. History subject provides a possibility to develop students' critical and creative thinking, though interpretation, training, and consideration of the fact. To ensure that students achieve a high level of thinking, some countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, Finland, Japan, and Singapore has established a set of guidelines though their history subject curriculum. These guidelines include discipline structure, which contain some aspects of historical thinking skills, what we call HTS, namely understanding chronology, discovering evidence, making interpretations, creative imagination, and rationalizing fact. The summary of the core discipline in history are shown in the figure 1. Literature review. The importance of the history subject has been recognized in building human capital among students in Malaysia. Thus, the Ministry of Education suggests that teaching training institutions train future teachers to integrate and apply historical thinking skill in the teaching and learning of the history during teaching training. However, the willingness of pre-service teacher in integrating thinking skill in teaching is still questionable. Some findings point out that pre-service teachers apply thinking skill successfully during their micro-teaching at the university. However, they fail to apply the skill in their teaching practice. Studies conducted by Michael 2018 and Ray 2017 indicate that teachers often use the traditional approach because this is the easiest way to control the class and complete the syllabus on time. This study produced results which describe the categories of historical thinking skill by pre-service teachers. The result of this research provides information for school teachers to be more serious in emphasizing the historical thinking skill in teaching and learning process. In addition, the result of this study also explain the real situation about the integration of the historical thinking skill by pre-service teachers who have been trained in the university level. The design of this study is a qualitative case study which aims to explore, expand and understand the phenomenon studies. The research chose a case study employing qualitative research design in order to generate in-depth analysis and to understand the situation as well as make room for the more open interaction. Participants in this study, a total of 4 pre-service teachers were selected as participant purposive sampling. The participants were selected for the study based on their willingness to cooperate during the investigation, and the criteria of the selected participants is as expected to provide answers to the research objective. In addition, the participants were selected for the study were homogeneous in terms of academic achievement based on grade point average. CGPA is about 3.0 and above. A case study approach was employed as it allowed a selection of a small number of samples, which is only 4 participants for this study. This is also an effective method for the research to conduct observation. In addition, a small number is also sufficient for the purpose of the detailed descriptive study. Data collection in this study, only observation and interview were used as data collection method. The participants were observed using a video camera and observation form. Participants' behavior were recorded using observation form. all observation video and interview record were digitally recorded and verbally transcribed. Results. Based on data analysis, the pre-service teacher involved generally have integrated of historical taking skill, namely understanding of the chronology, exploring the evidence, making interpretation, simulating imagination, and creating rationalizations. The evidence from the analysis show that two of the historical taking skill often integrated by the pre-service teacher who are exploring evidence and making interpretation skills. First, understanding chronology. It was evidence during observation that the skills were performed according to the steps induction set, step 1, step 2, and step 3 by teacher A in the teaching and learning session, which was observed as indicated in the findings shown in table 1. As evidence during the first observation, the skills were performed by teacher A in the first step, which involved the title of the Islamic government in Medina, the first Treaty of Aqabah, and the second Treaty of Aqabah. The skill was presented by teacher A after the reinforcement activity and had been conducted. Second, discovering evidence. The skills were demonstrated according to the step induction set, step 1, step 2, and step 3 by teacher A, teacher B, and teacher D in their teaching and learning session, and the results are shown in table 2. First, during the first observation, the skills were performed by teacher A in the first step and the second step, which involved the title of Islamic government in Medina, the first Treaty of Aqabah, and the second Treaty of Aqabah. During the first observation, teacher A showed the map of the Arab lands to the student through a projector and widescreen by using the PowerPoint software. Secondly, during the first observation, teacher A also performed a skill of the exploring evidence in the second step when explaining the content of the first Treaty of Aqabah. The skills were presented by teacher A to the student after describing the location of Aqabah in the step 1. Thirdly, during the second observation, the skills to explore evidence were also performed by teacher A in the first step, which involved the title of the Islamic kingdom in Medina, the spread of Islam. During the second observation, the implementation of the skills of exploring evidence were performed in the first step after the induction set was performed at the beginning of the session. Fourthly, during the third observation, teacher A performed the skill of exploring evidence in the second step when teaching the topic of Islamic government in Medina, the Charter of Medina. The skills were presented by teacher A after implementing the set induction to introduce the title to the student by giving a situation and asking a questions. Results also show discovering evidence also doing by teacher B and teacher D in different teaching steps. Making interpretation. The skills were performed by teacher A, teacher B, and teacher D in the teaching and learning session according to the step induction set, step 1, step 2, and step 3, and the results are shown in table 3. Formulating imagination. The skills were integrated by teacher B and teacher D in the teaching and learning session according to the step induction set, step 1, step 2, and step 3, and the results are shown in table 4. Rationalizing fact. The skills were integrated only by teacher B in the teaching and learning session according to the step induction set step 1, step 2 and step D, and the result are shown in table 5. In conclusion, the current study identified the categories of the historical thinking skill integrated by pre-service teacher and found out the categories of the historical thinking skill often integrated by pre-service teachers. The implication of this study indicates the different teaching techniques were used by the pre-service teacher to facilitate the integration of various historical thinking skills frequently performed in the teaching and learning process. It also provides a benchmark on the effectiveness of the pre-service teacher at the university who need sufficient guidelines to apply the historical thinking skill during their teaching practice. The TPEC model that upholds the coherence between content knowledge and the pedagogical knowledge can effectively build the support teaching and learning. Emphasis of the integration of the historical thinking skill should always be monitored by each course by qualified instructors. Constraint of the integration of the historical thinking skill should be addressed immediately by the relevant parties so that the training providers, a teacher training institute, should be improved. This is because the integration of the historical thinking skill in the classroom by teachers will produce students who not only have a skill but also have a capable of thinking and evaluating any historical event with more empathy. Thank you.